घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम् नमयों विष्णुपादाय श्रीगौरप्रियमूर्तये श्रीमते भक्तिवल्लभतीर्थगोस्वामी नामिने कृपया क्षमतामपराधिजनम् कलुषायुतसक्तसुदीननरम् सुपथे परिचालय सर्वदिनं प्रणमामि च माधवदेवपदम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 2nd chapter. Yesterday we heard that the Lord is the protector and the maintainer of all the living entities. Even though sometimes we may lose some objects on the street, but being protected by the Supreme Lord, they are not lost and we can find them again after we go back in search of it. Yet other times we have put a certain thing within our own house and tried to preserve it, but we don't find it. This can happen. People are, storing their hard-earned money. They want to cling on to the money for a long time. Suddenly, some disease or something like that will come, and all the money that I want to store, I want to keep for myself, will be gone in a flash. Because whatever the Lord protects, that will remain, and when the Lord, even if the Lord is not protecting, even if we are trying to keep it with lot of safety and security, it will be finished. This is what the boy, Yamaraj as a boy, is giving instructions that there are many persons and many living entities who are able to sustain within the forest in the middle of so many ferocious animals. And yet others, even though they are being taken care of, protected under the supervision of the doctors, they may lose their life very quickly. So then what is the cause of all these things? The karma of their own. The Supreme Lord is not partial. One may ask why he is protecting someone's property and not others. He is protecting someone's body and not some others. This is because of the living entity's own karma. Whatever karma a living entity has performed, accordingly, one will get the body, the gross and the subtle body, and when that karma is finished, that body will be finished. Every particular type of a body we have is due to the karma we have performed. And also, for how long we will live also depends on how much karma we have in store to be as a human or to be as a rat or to be as a mouse or a cat, etc. Everything is, depending on what karma is there in store for us. That is why you see so many children, they are born and they die within 2 days. There are so many. And yet there are some who are living up to 80, 90, 100 also. So it depends on what karma one has possessed. But Atma is completely different from the body. I think this is the last period. Did we hear about the family, the house is separate from the living entity? No, not yet. Idam shariram purushasya mohajam yatha पृथक भौतिकम ईशते मीयते गृहम यथोदकैः पार्थिव तैजसैर्जनः कालेन जातो विकृतो विनश्यति। गृह जे प्रकार गृहस्थ होइते पृथक होइयाओ अज्ञान क्रम में अभिन्न बोलिया प्रतीत होय से रूप मोहग्रस्त जीव अपना के भौतिक देह मात्र मने करे। Just like a person living in the house is different from the house. But yet it appears that because of his identification with that particular house, he is considering the house to be he himself. In a similar manner, the living entity is living within this body. The living entity is within this body, inside this body. This body is like a house. Just like we are living in a house and we are different from the house, similarly Atma is living in this house of a human. But it is not that the house is the entity. House is different from the entity. In a similar manner, the jiva, living entity, is different from the body. जल पृथ्वी और तेजेर अंश होइते मनुष्य जीवन देह लाभ करे সেই রূপ কালক্রমে পরিণামবশত উহাদের অপক্ষয়ে দেহের বিনাশ হয়। Through water, earth, fire, etc., this body gets created. This body is made of 5 material elements: earth, water, fire, air and ether. These are the material elements which compose this body. Therefore, this body requires these elements only: earth, water, fire, air and ether. You need earth. Earth means not mud, transformation of mud, crops, the fruits, the trees and the vegetables, the grains, whatever we are getting, transformation of earth. We sustain by earth. Water. This body is composed of water. There is a water element, therefore we require water. Air, fire, ether, in a similar way, all these things are, or the elements of this body, therefore the body requires these. But Atma is totally separate from it. And because these five elements are causing this body to be created, again these are the five elements that make also the body disintegrate, finish, decay. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. All these things, now air is, by through air we are sustaining, we are taking, in and out. But with over a period of time, our respiratory system itself becomes very weak. The intake of the air will slowly get, disturbed. Similarly, intake of food, the food which we are eating, that is the earth, transformation of earth, slowly that will also change. Everything is changing with time, all these material elements. But one that remains unchanged is Atma. So it is the various material elements that are getting transformed. Due to them the body is created, and again due to them the body is also finished. Kintu Atmar vinash hoina. But Atma has no destruction. These five material elements, they are destroyed, but Atma is not destroyed. You see, the five material elements, after we die, we are burnt, or we are put in the, we are cremated. Then where is this body going? It slowly gets absorbed into the earth, into water, in the sky, etc. Because it has come from these elements only, and the destination of this is these elements only. Either it is put in the water, put in the ground, put in the fire, left it to the vultures. So these are these are the material elements, and the body has to ultimately get absorbed in these material elements only. But Atma is different from this. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in the commentary, ताहार सेई परमात्मार देह होइते अत्यंत भिन्न धर्मत्व प्रतिपादन करते चेन idam इत्यादि. So from that Paramatma, the super soul, this body is totally different. एई देव मनुष्यादि शरीर जीवेर मोहजो मोह होइते अर्थात अविद्यापूर्वक अध्यासकृत कर्मेर द्वारा उत्पन्न होइया छे. Whatever body one gets, whether it is a demigod's body, whether it is a human body, whether it is any other creature, it is due to mohaja, our misidentification. Whatever body we are getting is due to the misidentification of the self. Ignorance is the cause of repeated birth and death in this material world. A person who is situated on the self, then there is no, delusion, and there is no worry, there is no death. But the moment we think that we are the body, we fear death. But a person who is situated on the platform of Atma, Atma never dies, therefore he is not in fear. Just like, this house is there. When I identify myself with the house, or when I identify myself with a vehicle, that I have purchased a car, and I identify myself with the car or with the house, anything happens to the house or the car, I feel as if it has hurt me. Someone has scrapped on the house, someone is putting nails in my house, and someone is doing some, the children, you see, they always write some rubbish things on the, the children, they keep on doing. The mother and father say, go in that room, that room is for you, you can write there, but not outside. So the thing is that if anything happens to the house, because I identified myself with the house, I spent a lot of energy, lot of time, lot of money in trying to build that house. Now I identify myself with the house. Anything happens to the house, as if it has happened to me, I will have the feeling. But this house is separate from me. House is not me. I am not the house. But yet, because of my identification, if there is a scratch on the car, I purchase new car and after a week there is a scratch, then it's like, it pains me a lot. Why? Because I have identified myself with the car. After all, it is the car that got scratched, not your heart. But still, we are so much, we have misidentification with the car or any object that we think that belongs to me, that, directly that pain is radiated to us. This is all due to ignorance. পরমাত্মা এই দেহে অবস্থিত থাকিলেও ওই দেহ হইতে তিনি পৃথকই. Even though the super soul is existing in all the living entities, he is still different from them. Just like the lotus is there in the water, but it is not wet by the water. In a similar manner, the Lord is living within this body as Paramatma, super soul, but he is not affected by anything. That is completely being, because the characteristic of this world and characteristics of the body and the Atma are totally different. They are not the same. যথা ভৌতিকম যেমন ভিত্তি দ্বারাদিযুক্ত গৃহস্থ পুরুষ হইতে ভিন্নই দৃষ্ট হয়. Just like, the foundation, the brickwork, the cement work that constitutes a house is different from the actual person. In a similar manner, this body is like a house. This body is like a house that has 9 doors in what's his name? Puranjana. In the conversation of Puranjana, it comes that this body is like a house that has 9 doors. Eyes, ears, nose, mouth. Like this, we have, and the anus, the genitals, and the sweat pores. There are not sweat pores, but there are these 9 gates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 gates are there. So, this house is separate from the living entity. A living entity falsely identifies himself with this body, due to which he is repeatedly facing the problems, sufferings and miseries in this material world because of the identification with this body. This body, there's a very nice explanation there. This body is compared to a city with 9 gates, and it is described what each gate does. It's a very nice conversation there. And how it is actually different from the person who is passing through this village or this city. A city has 9 gates and a person is passing through this. They are not the same. The person is within this city, but he is not the city himself. He is not the town himself. সেই পার্থক্যই উৎপাদন করিতেছেন যথা উদকৈঃ যেমন জল পরমাণু সৃষ্ট বুদ্বুদ, মৃৎ পরমাণু হইতে সৃষ্ট ঘটাদি, তেজস পরমাণু স্বর্ণ নির্মিত কুণ্ডলাদি কালবশত উৎপন্ন হয় এবং বিনষ্ট হয়। সেই রূপই তিনি এই 3 প্রকার পরমাণুতে উৎপন্ন এই লোক অর্থাৎ দেহ কালবশত বিকৃত অর্থাৎ পরিণত হইয়া বিনষ্ট হয়, কিন্তু আত্মার বিনাশ হয় না, এই অর্থ। Just like the atomic particles in the water, they, small molecules, you see, these active molecules in the water, make the water form bubbles. Okay, and the example of water is given. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is telling that the water molecules, due to some kind of movement within them, they create bubbles. The bubbles are created in the water. And Mrit Paramanu Haite, and from the molecules in the mud, they are nicely formulated, they are nicely formed to bring a shape of a pot. And from the particles or the molecules within the fire, when it comes in contact with gold, then nice ornaments are prepared. So water, earth, fire, whatever molecules or particles within that, they create some material objects. Again, just like bubbles are formed, after some time the bubbles are also broken. Earthen pot is formed, after some time the earthen pot is broken. Now the nice jewelry, earrings or nose rings, whatever is prepared with the gold, after some time that also is destroyed. In a similar manner, whatever is created by earth, water, fire, air, ether, etc., they have a time limit. They have a shelf life. After that life is finished, they are broken, it is finished. But that which is within is permanent, is eternal. Yathanalo darushu bhinna iyate yathanilo dehagatah prithak sthitah yathanabah sarvagatam na sajjate तथा पुमान सर्वगुणाश्रय परह अग्नि जेमन काष्ठ अवस्थित हইয়া ताहा হইতে পৃথক বলিয়া প্রতীত হয় বায়ু যেমন দেহাভ্যন্তরে থাকিয়াও মুখনাসিকাদি ভিন্ন ভিন্ন স্থানে অবস্থিত বলিয়া বোধ হয় সর্বগত হইয়াও আকাশ যেমন কাহারও সঙ্গ লাভ করে না তদ্রূপ পুরুষও দেহেন্দ্রিয় আদি সকলের আশ্রয় হইয়া তাহা হইতে পৃথক বলিয়া প্রতীত হইয়া থাকেন Within the wood there is fire, but the fire remains separate from wood. There is fire within wood, but there is no exhibition of fire there. The fire entity is totally different from wood, but his existence is there, but entity is different. In a similar manner, within this body there is air. There is air within this body that seems to be coming and going out through mouth and nose, etc. But Vayu, the air itself has a separate existence. It looks like it's there only within the body, coming out and going in, but the existence of air is separate from this body. It is there within this body, but its existence is also separate. In a similar manner, the sky also, even though the sky is everywhere, the sky is not in contact with anyone. The sky is everywhere, but he is not in contact with anyone. Nobody can say, oh, you are sky. No. Sky is there within us. Sky means ether is there within us, and ether is there everywhere. Wherever there is an empty space, that is ether. So all there is ether here, there is sky here. So the ether or the sky is within the body, but or everywhere, but its existence is separate from the body. In a similar manner, dehendriyadi sakaler ashray hoiya taha hoite prithak boliya. The living entity is also seem to have taken shelter of this body, but yet it is different from the body. So even though the five material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, we are composed of these elements, but yet they have independent existence of their own. They are separate from the body. In a similar manner, Atma, which is superior to these five principles, earth, water, fire, air, ether, it is also separate from the body. So here what Yamaraj is telling to all of them is that your husband who is dead is not the body. The body you are seeing is of your own husband, but your husband is missing. What is it that is missing? He is not the body, he is something else. This is what, the Yamaraj as a boy is wanting to convey to these queens. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in the commentary, पृथक अवस्थानेर अभावेउ अर्थात एकत्र अवस्थित होइलेउ भिन्नत्व विषये दृष्टांत देते चेन यथा अनलह. So even though Atma stays within the body, still it is separate from the body. In order to tell this, the examples are given in this particular verse. Agni जेवन काष्टे থাকিয়াও দাহক ও প্রকাশ রূপে কাষ্ঠ হইতে ভিন্ন. The fire is living, is within the wood, but the moment there is fire, you should say it should have the burning property, it should have the illuminating property, but wood is not illuminating or it is not burning anyone. But fire is within, means even though fire seems to be within the wood, the fire has its own separate property of illuminating and burning. Means its existence is separate. Even though within the wood, it has its separate existence also. যেরূপ দেহগত একই বায়ু নাসিকাদি ভিন্ন স্থানে থাকিয়া ভিন্ন বলিয়া উপলব্ধ হয়. And also similarly the wind, air, also it is resting within the nose and the mouth, etc. Still air is different from the body. It's inside the body, but it is not the body. It is different from the body, separate from the body. দেহের অভ্যন্তরে থাকিলেও আত্মার দেহধর্মের যোগের অভাব বিষয়ে দৃষ্টান্ত দিতেছেন यथा नभः न सज्जते. যেমন আকাশ সর্বগত হইয়াও কাহারও সঙ্গে আসক্ত হয় না, সেইরূপ পুরুষ সকল গুণের অর্থাৎ দেহ ইন্দ্রিয়াদির আশ্রয় এবং তাহাতে আশ্রিত হইলেও তাহা হইতে পৃথকই এই অর্থ. Similarly, the third example is of the sky. The sky is everywhere, but he is not associating with anyone, or he is not attached to anyone. The sky is there everywhere, the ether is present everywhere, but the sky has no attachment, the sky has no association with anything or anyone, still a separate entity. In a similar manner, Atma also, while living in this body, just like Akash, like the sky is all pervasive, Atma is also pervading all through the body. Now my Atma is pervading through my body. Others' Atma is pervading through his or her own body, or within his or her own body, not outside. But Paramatma is all pervasive. My Atma is pervasive within my body, not others' body. If someone is, biting you, I cannot feel the pain because my consciousness is there only within my body, not in others' body. Whereas the super soul, he is present in everyone, but yet he remains totally independent of the body, even though he is all pervasive. Even though the Atma is also pervasive within the body, the Atma is different from the body. Just like sky is there everywhere, sky is seemingly pervasive, sky is seemingly in association with someone, but the sky is unaffected by any of these things. In a similar manner, Jivatma also. अतएव निज कर्म वशत परमेश्वर कर्तृक उपेक्षित এই পতিকে কি জন্য উপেক্ষা করতেছে না? এই ভাব. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is telling that by his own karma, your husband is lying in front of you. The Lord has left him. Now, why are you not leaving him? Means the Lord left him, means Lord left protecting him. For so long, the Lord has been protecting him. As long as the Lord is protecting, he is there. Now the Lord stopped his protection, he is gone. Now why are you still holding to him? Because as long as the Lord protects, the living entity is there. The moment the Lord's protection is stopped, the living entity is no more there. Therefore, it doesn't make sense that you sit in front of him and cry because the Lord has stopped protecting him. Therefore, now there cannot be any life in it. Finished. Suyagyo nanvayam shete mudha yamanu shochatha यह श्रोता यो अनुवक्तेह स न दृश्येत करहिचित। हे मूढ़गण, তোমরা যাহার জন্য শোক প্রকাশ করিতেছ সেই সুয়জ্ঞ প্রভৃতি তোমাদের সম্মুখেই শায়িত আছেন, অন্যত্র কোথাও গমন করি নাই। সুতরাং কেন শোক করিতেছ? Oh, you foolish persons, you are crying for Suyagya, you are lamenting for Suyagya. But for whom you are lamenting, he is right in front of you. He has not gone anywhere. Why are you crying? You see, if person is away from you, then you cry. It makes sense. But Suyagya means your husband for whom you are crying is lying right in front of you. He has not gone elsewhere. Therefore, why are you crying? एतावत् काल पर्यন্ত এই ব্যক্তি তোমাদের কথা শুনিয়াছে ও তাহার প্রত্যুত্তর দিয়াছে, এখন তাহাকে না পাইয়া শোক করিতেছ। ইহা অসঙ্গত, যেহেতু যিনি শ্রবণ করেন ও প্রত্যুত্তর দেন তাহাকে কস্মিন কালেও কেহ দেখতে পায় নাই। Now if you say that no, for so long he was listening to us, he was speaking to us, but now he is not listening to us anymore, he is not speaking to us anymore, we are crying for that person. You understand? We are crying for that person who was listening us, who was speaking to us, but now he is not there. So we are crying for him. Then Yamaraj is telling that you have never seen that person. You have never seen the person who was talking to you, who was listening to you. So why does it make sense that you are crying? You have not seen a person and you heard that he is dead. Will you cry for such person? Not really. You know, Ukraine and Russia fighting with each other. Those who are in Ukraine or those who are in Russia, they are directly related. Therefore, if anything happens, they are hurt more deeply. Then, we can just express some, and these things shouldn't happen, it's very bad. But that kind of, madness or, that kind of feeling will not be there for others, outsiders, because there is no relation, there is no connection. Of whom I have not seen, with whom I have no association, no relation, how can there be any such, lamentation or, separation feeling? So, if the wives of Suyagya were to say that no, this body is lying in front of us, but we are lamenting for that person who was talking to us and who was listening us, then Yamaraj is telling that you have never seen that person. Who is that person? That is Atma. Atma is making a person animate to speak or hear or do anything. You have not seen that Atma. Therefore, how can you say he is there or not there? So far you are thinking that he is the body. You are interacting with the body. And now that if that is what it is, then the body is right in front of you. What is there to lament for? And if you say, no, he was talking to me, he was listening to me, we want that person. Did you ever see that person? Did anyone see Atma? যাহা দেখা যায় সেই দেহ তো এখানে দেখতে পাইতেছ, সুতরাং শোক করা বৃথা। So what can be seen is there in front of you even now. What you never saw, you have not seen it. Therefore, why are you lamenting? Do you understand? What you saw all these days is there right in front of you. What you have not seen, anyway you have not seen, therefore why are you crying? So, so Yamaraj is, as a small boy, is very logically telling that no one should cry for Atma. And of course nobody should cry for body anyway, because even if the body, if you have associated the body, that body is there in front of you even after death. You should not be doing this. That is why he called, Hey Mudagan, O foolish fellows. You are crying for that which is not to be lamented. Ashocyan anvashochastvam. That which is not a point of lamentation, you are lamenting for that, not a cause of lamentation. You are lamenting for it. Pragyavadamscha bhasha se. One side you are speaking big philosophical words. Gatasumscha, that which is gone and for which that will not be gone. Nanushochante pandita. That which will be anyway gone, people will not, pandita, learned scholars will not cry. And that which will not be gone anyway, why will they cry? Means for Atma or for the body, nobody should lament. What he is telling, Krishna is telling there to Arjuna is, one should lament neither for body nor for the soul, because body anyway will die. That is a known fact. Atma will never die. Therefore, what are you lamenting for? Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in the commentary, Jadi bolen, ei raja juddhe parajito hoiya samprati shayan koriyache. কি প্রকারে ইহাকে উপেক্ষা করিয়া আমরা স্নেহশূন্য হইতে পারি? If the wives of the Suyagya king were to say, our husband fought in the battlefield and now he is dead in the battlefield, he is lying now dead in the battlefield. How can we become merciless to him? How can we not care him? Our husband is lying in the battlefield as a dead person. How can we not care him? তাহাতে বলিতেছেন আয়ম সুয়জ্ঞ ইত্যাদি। তোমাদের পতি এই সুয়জ্ঞ তো তোমাদের সম্মুখেই শয়ন করিয়া আছে, তবে কেন শোক করিতেছ? Your husband is there right in front of you, then why are you crying? Whom are you crying for? Ataiva tomra mudha, therefore you are rascals, you are fools. You are, the person whom you are crying for is lying right in front of you. You foolish persons, why are you crying for the person who is lying in front of you? যদি বলেন আমাদের আলাপ এতকাল ইনি শ্রবণ করিয়াছেন এবং উত্তরও প্রদান করিয়াছেন, তাহাতে বলিতেছেন করহিচেত। But if they were to say, no, for all these days whatever we were speaking, he was hearing. And for whatever he heard, he would give reply to us. But now he is not doing that. Then, karhichit kono kalau purveu tini drishya chilen na. Then the question is, did you ever see him before? Who was speaking to you, who was listening you? Did you see that person before? If you think it is the body, it is there in front of you. But if you think it is separate from the body, did you see that person ever? অর্থাৎ যে শ্রবণ করে এবং উত্তর প্রদান করে তাহাকে তো কোথাও দেখা যায় না। Means the person who has actually heard or the person who has actually replied, no one can see. কিন্তু যাহা দৃশ্য তাহা তো এখনো দৃশ্য হইতেছে, তাহা এই দেহে যাহা শায়িত আছে এই ভাব। But whatever was seen before is seen now also. That which was not seen before is not being seen now also. So what are you lamenting for? This is the question. But there is an answer within that question. Cliffhanger. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गांधर्विका गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन पंचतत्वात्मक श्री गौर हरि की जय। परमाराध्यतम पतित पावन स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति वल्लभ तीर्थ गोस्वामी श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टोम विष्णुपाद परमहंस स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति दयित माधव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री श्री रूपानुग गुरुवर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ षड गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय। श्री कृष्ण द्वैपायन वेदव्यास महामुनि की जय। श्रीमद् भागवत श्रवणकारी भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री हरिनाम प्रभु की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।